Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day today. We have the Pocono Doubleheader Cup Series race coming at you guys fresh off of the All-Star race at Martinsville Speedway last episode, where we actually brought home the $1 million victory for our 2014. But we have some breaking news right off the bat today. Chip Ganassi Racing announces big news today. Ross Chastain will leave Chip Ganassi Racing at the end of the season, leaving the 42 car up for grabs. The team also announces they will field a third full-time car next season with the number 40 Target car driven by Timmy Hill. We love what we've seen from Timmy and feel like he will be a great addition to our team in the Cup Series in the future. There you see the paint scheme he will be running next season on the track. The scheme made by Lation, as he's been doing a great job with making these paint schemes for our career mode, taking the time out of his day to put together some great cars. So Noah Gragson will remain at Chip Ganassi, and now we have Timmy Hill, who's won this season in the Xfinity Series, with JRM and has been one of the top drivers in the Xfinity Series in the career mode this season, and that has got him the call up to the Cup Series with a good team now, as Ganassi has decided to get rid of Chastain, who's definitely underperformed in that 42 car. He did win a race last season at Martinsville, but missed the playoffs in his first two seasons with the team, and it looks like he's going to miss the playoffs this season as well. So we come through though into the actual Pocono doubleheader races here for qualifying with the NZXT paint scheme on the car. We will have the Razor paint scheme on the car in race number 2, showing you guys both Pocono races here today in this episode, so it's definitely going to be a lengthy one, but we come through in the first race with a 53.9 in qualifying, and qualify P11 for this first Pocono doubleheader race for the Pocono Organics 325. As you see up front, William Byron on pole, joined by Kevin Harvick in his final season here. Chase Elliott and Keselowski, Joey Logano round out your top 5. Harrison Burton rounds out the top 10. Teammates like Alex Bowman for us down there like P20, unfortunate for him, but at the very bottom we got Sheldon Creed in that 37 car, and then John Hunter Nemechek down there in P39 here, as he's been having a very rough season so far as we get ready to take the green flag. Alright boys, we've run strong here before in the past. We've never really been able to win a race here, but I think we've got the speed to make it happen fresh off of that All-Star win. We got the momentum on our side. Let's go get it done today. There you hear myself on the radio to the team, just trying to encourage everybody now getting ready to take the green flag here in the Pocono Organics 325. Logano, of course, still a rival of ours. Definitely got to watch out for him today at the tricky triangle. Anthony Alfredo looks like he's going to be struggling on pace, and William Byron, there you see him on pole in that Liberty University paint scheme now as we get ready to take the green flag. No one's sent to the back of the field for this one, so everybody passed inspection. No one missed driver introductions or anything. Now as the green flag is out, and we are underway for race number 1 of 2 here in this episode at Pocono from the 11th starting position on this inside lane now, as we continue to monitor the playoff situation as we close in towards the end of the regular season already. It's crazy how quick we've gone through this season now, as we got drivers like Chase Elliott, Matt DiBenedetto in the playoffs right now on points, but they do not have a win, and there's only 4 spots available on points currently still, but it's kind of been staying like that because we are starting to finally see some multi-time winners this season, with Kevin Harvick picking up a win last time out at Chicagoland. As you guys remember a few episodes ago when we ran that out of the groove Erica step paint scheme on the car, all of a sudden we found ourselves in the mix for a potential race victory in overtime, but of course we couldn't pull it off as we didn't have the speed in the car to make it happen. There, as you saw, a 3-wide move from myself to move ourselves into P8 now to the inside of Kevin Harvick. Harvick started in P2, already down to P7, potentially P8 if I complete this pass right here. Down the front straight, a little bit of contact between himself and I now as we come through to 4 laps to go in stage 1. A very short stage 1 here in both Pocono races in this episode, as William Byron, another driver currently in the playoffs on points, but definitely not really safe in terms of that situation. He definitely wants to look at getting a win, and he could do that today. It looks like he has the speed. And then that 4th driver in on points right now, other than Byron, Elliott, and DiBenedetto, is Ryan Blaney. And then on the outside, you got Bubba Wallace being the first driver out, who's just barely hanging in there and definitely still has a chance to potentially make it into the playoffs. Now, as we would complete a pass on Noah Gragson, we came through all the way to the final lap now, which was not very far at all here in stage 1 to the inside of our teammate of Chase Elliott as we go down into turns 1. Elliott has just had a lot of bad luck this season and hasn't been able to pull off a victory. I did not change his driver rating whatsoever from last season to this season, so it's very surprising to see the struggle he is having. As you see my rear view mirror now, Chase Briscoe had run us down. He has a lot of speed in that car today as I give a big push to the back of the 9 of Chase Elliott as we come through the tunnel turn. A little bit of smoke from his car, but nothing comes out of that, thankfully, now as we come through down this second straightaway towards turn 3 for the final time here in stage 1. I look behind us. I saw the 48 of Alex Bowman. Our teammate has worked his way from P20 to the top 10 here in just the first handful of laps of this race now as we come through out of turns 2. William Byron, he will hold off Kyle Busch as I left the door wide open after getting loose out of turn 3 for Chase Briscoe to go up the inside, and he actually steals the 6th spot away from me at the very end of stage 1. So we end up P7 there as Elliott holds on for P5, but William Byron picks up a playoff point with that stage victory now as we are going to come into the pit lane, of course, for 2 cans of fuel as well as 4 fresh tires. I don't really think we need to change anything right there. 5 laps was nowhere near enough to kind of get a good feel for the car, so I think we should just keep it the way it is. There you hear myself on the radio now as we're going to get ready to take the green flag for the start of stage 2, but like I said, they're 5 laps, very short for a stage, not really a good indicator of what we need to do to the car there as we gain 1 spot and get that spot back over Chase Briscoe. So now we restart in at P6 now with Byron and Kyle Busch on their front row, and of course for the start of stage 2 here in Pocono, it's time to get amped. There you had the amp segment here from Pocono Raceway. Now, as you see, it was definitely not the greatest restart for myself. In the first lap and a half, we actually clipped the outside wall there, but dropped down to P9 behind Denny Hamlin. Chase Briscoe, we get passed by our teammate of Alex Bowman, and now we're also under a little bit of pressure from our other teammate of Kyle Larson. So we got all the Hendrick guys in the top 10, including our affiliate teammate of William Byron, who lost the lead to Kyle Busch, but you saw a 3-wide pass right there from myself on Alex Bowman. Denny Hamlin still to my outside as we exit turns 2, heading down this second straightaway, but we will be able to pass Hamlin and carry this momentum to the inside again of Chase Elliott. So clearly we got a little bit more speed as this second stage goes on. Already coming to lap 5 there as we, sure enough, complete the pass on the 9 car, move up into P6, and then we would run down Chase Briscoe as Alex Bowman would just be right on my back bumper the whole time following me now as I look to the inside of Briscoe heading down towards turn 3. But there was one problem, and you see it, of course, right in front of us. Our rival of Joey Logano was now in the mix, and I was having a tough time trying to pass him, but by the time we came to lap 7, now side by side, even with him into turns 1, I know he's going to try and wreck me, so I decided to sail it off into turns 1 there, but unfortunately, I send it way too hard into the corner. I have to slow the car down, and that allows the 22 to get back to my inside as we exit turns 1, and now he is going to crowd me up the track a little bit, so I backed out of the throttle. I have no interest in racing with Logano side by side on the outside of him, as he was just going to try and put me into the outside wall. So now I was stuck here behind Alex Bowman. Hamlin was able to get to my inside, and Chase Briscoe was able to follow through. So now we are falling back down the order, and this is all because I just couldn't find a way to pass that 22 of Joey Logano. Now as I get to the back of the 48, give him a little bit of a push down this front straightaway. Though a chance was open there to get to the inside, I took it, got back to the inside of Alex Bowman. Hamlin now to the inside of Joey Logano as we were approaching now the final 2 laps of stage 2. Kyle Busch, William Byron up there in P1 and P2. By the time we came through the tunnel turn, though, we now had another opportunity to get to the inside inside of the 22 of Joey Logano. So once again, we take that chance, and I know I'm going to have to send it again into turn 3, so I do exactly that. We sail it off into the corner there. I got the car slowed down a lot earlier, but the door was still opened for Joey Logano as we came through to turn 3, so he was able to get back past as we fall back down to P6, coming through to the start of this final lap. By the time we came through down into the tunnel turn here on lap 10 of stage 2, once again an opportunity opens on that inside of the 22 of Logano, so I take it now down this second straightaway towards turn 3, but this time we clear the 22 into turn 3, so I don't really have to send it into the corner as a door opens for Briscoe for a moment. He tried to get to that inside, but Logano defends him very well as we exit turn 2. Kyle Busch destroys everybody in stage 2, picks up the stage victory. We come through to cross the line here in P5 behind the 11 car of Denny Hamlin. So a very strong effort from the team there in stage 2. As you see, Brad Keselowski was also able to pass William Byron for that runner-up spot, because Keselowski, as you guys know, moving to the 41 car next season in the career mode for Stewart-Haas Racing. But once again, we came into the pit lane for 2 cans of fuel as well as 4 fresh tires. No adjustments to the car. I felt like the car was overall pretty good, so I was hopeful here that it would work out in this third and final stage. Now, as you see, Anthony Alfredo at the very bottom of the field. In the pre-race, it said he was definitely not looking very fast, and sure enough, he is proving that here as we lose 1 spot this time on the pit lane to the number 22 of Joey Logano as we get ready to go green here. Now as the third and final stage is underway. Now as Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski lead the way immediately, the 22 crowds us up to the wall. Even he nearly turns himself into the wall down the front straightaway. What in the world was he trying to do right there? Just put himself into the wall? What an idiot. This rivalry with Joey Logano has spanned across probably a season and a half to 2 seasons at this point now, between himself and I, and it's definitely been a frustrating run, but hopefully we can find a way to get him back to that friendly status like I mentioned. As you guys know, I hear it in the comments sometimes, like, why don't you like Joey Logano? I do like Joey Logano. It's just we have an in-game rivalry just because of contact we've had on the track. I have no hard feelings to Joey Logano whatsoever. It's just a fun rivalry we have here in the NASCAR Heat Series now as we come through out of the tunnel turn side by side with Chase Elliott, trying to find a way back in front of him, and sure enough, into turn 3, we do clear a Hendrick Motorsports teammate there into the corner now, right to the back of the 22. Obviously, with that contact right there, him just about putting himself in the wall, we already know our rivalry is right back to that peak. And you have to do at least probably 5 to 6 races or so of just not running into your rival whatsoever to just get them even close to being away from a rival. So we already look at now the earliest maybe we could be done being rivals with Joey Logano is probably at the end of the regular season. So it's going to be a very hard thing to do, but we really got to put in the time to make it happen because, I mean, fortunately, he's never really affected our playoff outcome, but eventually he is going to. I think this will be like the 3rd playoffs potentially that he could be a rival for now. As Kyle Busch, you can see on lap 24 of this race, he was driving away. I'm running side by side with Chase Briscoe again on lap 24 out of the tunnel turn side by side. There is actually clip him in that left door as we head down towards turns 3. Hamlin up to second. Now the 14's actually going to go spinning into turn 3 around. He goes hard into the outside wall, and that's going to end up bringing out a caution here at the tricky triangle in Pocono. That was 100% my fault there, just getting into the left-hand side of him. Just a mistake from myself when I pushed up on the exit of the tunnel turn. Felt bad about that one because we messed over Briscoe, but he's still up there in P11, and we know he has a fast car there. But very unfortunate for him. But now that is going to force a late race restart upon the field now, as we'll be restarting here in P5 with Joey Logano on my outside, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, your front row, William Byron, Brad Keselowski, row number 2 here as we get back underway on row number 3. Behind us, we got our teammates of Chase Elliott as well as Kyle Larson. Alex Bowman still having a good run up inside the top 10. Bowman has probably been one of the best drivers recently here in the career mode, winning races, running strong week by week, or race by race, and just continuing to show some good performances here now as we're side by side with that 22 of Logano through turns 1, now briefly 3 wide there with his teammate of Keselowski. You saw a little bit of contact between myself and Joey now as we head down this straightaway. Now in front of us, Keselowski's trying to look to the inside of that 88 of Byron, can't quite make it happen. As you already see behind us, Chase Briscoe has already gotten to the back of us now as we go down into this tunnel turn now, as we can't quite really exit that tunnel turn as I was hoping we could now as we came through though to 4 laps to go. We have the pole from the 88's draft, and we cleared the 22 of Logano and did not hesitate to cut across the front end of him as we went down into turns 1. So Keselowski would, sure enough, though, get past the 88 and the 11, move back up into that runner-up spot of second place. There's that push up into the side of the 11 just a little bit now, but by the time we went down into turns 3 on lap 29, approaching the final 3 laps, we get past Hamlin, but then I get sideways there off that little curbing, and I nearly wipe out myself and the 11. Somehow, though, we do not crash and continue on our way, but we just gave up any chance of a great finish there as we came through to the final 2 laps of this race, and myself and Hamlin still going at it into turns 1. I run him up the track a little bit now through the center of the corners. Kyle Busch running away with victory and a dominating performance here at the Tricky Triangle now as I'm starting to lose some grip in this car here in the final couple laps of this first Pocono doubleheader race, but the caution comes out with a lap and a half to go for Kyle Busch, and that is going to force us into overtime for the second straight race. As you guys remember, we had overtime last time out in the last points race anyways at Chicagoland, and that really changed everything. Logano was cruising to victory. Kevin Harvick and myself stayed out, or actually I did not stay out. I took 2 tires and overtook the field, but Harvick stayed out and was able to actually win the race. So there you see, it looks like CJ McLaughlin brings out the caution. He is in that 78 car. He will have a brand new paint scheme here in the coming episodes that I can't wait to show you guys that Vix and one of the community members have made for that car. Now as we are back underway for overtime here in Pocono race number 1, Joey Logano once again on my outside here. We are now down in that 9th position, not where I really anticipated on being at this point in the race. I really thought we had a top 5 car, but now we have an opportunity to maybe get that top 5 that I felt like we were in position to get now, as Hamlin trying to force a 3 wide there for a moment between Kyle Larson as well as Zane Smith as we come through out of turns 1 a little bit sideways again, nearly corrected into the side of the 11. I definitely don't think Hamlin would have appreciated me messing him up for the second time within the last handful of laps now as we go down though into this tunnel turn. Kyle Busch already having a commanding lead here by a good 2 to 3 car lengths over second place, which is being battled between Keselowski as well as William Byron, as I made it 3 wide there with Kyle Larson and Smith. Larson pulls out of the 3 wide, so now Hamlin dives up his inside into turns 3 to move up a spot as I'm up the inside of that McLaren driver of Zane Smith in his second season of his Cup Series career. Definitely hasn't gone like he would hope, I am sure, because I think he probably expected to have a first career victory by now, as we're up the inside of Alex Bowman, wasting no time on this final lap that is now underway into turns 1 3 wide. Again, Kyle Busch long gone as I kind of slid there into that 3 wide up the inside of the 88 and the 2. I did not even try to get into that inside position on that 88, but just like I said, I kind of slid into it, and it was kind of weird, but we make it work now as we're going to be able to pass the 88 of Byron, now side by side with Briscoe, who we crashed earlier. A lot of damage on that car here as we come through the tunnel turn on this final lap of race number 1. Now as we come through down the second straightaway, Kyle Busch looking to get his second win on the season. Hard to believe he's only at 1, but you look at the different amount of winners we've had this season, it makes sense now as we come through turn 3, up that inside of the 2 at his quarter panel, but nothing for him on the exit of the corner, and out of turns 3 in the Pocono Organics 325 for the first race of the doubleheader weekend. Kyle Busch comes through to get win number 2 on the season as we come through to cross the line for a nice P3 rebound here after looking like we were going to be in the bottom part of the top 10 as Matt DiBenedetto rounds out the top 10, but all of the Hendrick cars in the top 11 at least. If Elliott would have had one more spot there, it would have put them all in the top 10. Bubba Wallace with a rough day down in P21, not going to help his efforts in making it into the playoffs. Harvick ended up fading down to P27, Suarez P26, and then Chastain down to P31 in the same episode that we just announced. He will be leaving Chip Ganassi Racing, and you compare him to Noah Gragson, and you can kind of see why it's happening now. But here's what the playoff grid looked like at the end of this first race. So you see there still Elliott, Byron, DiBenedetto, Blaney, your 4 drivers in on points. Bubba Wallace 20 points below, Cindric 58. He still has a chance, but Custer on down pretty much has to win. But we come through into qualifying now for race number 2 of the Pocono doubleheader with the Razor paint scheme back on the car, crossing the line there with a 53.9. I think we had a 53.9 in race number 1 qualifying, but this time we qualified 2 spots worse, put ourselves in P13 for the Pocono 350. Now, as you see the rest of the qualifying order, so Kyle Busch goes from winning race number 1 to putting himself right where he left off, P1 for the start of this race, joined by his teammates of Denny Hamlin. Elliott, Smith, and Logano round out your top 5. Smith had a good run in race number 1 and qualifies well for race number 2 there, as you see Harvick down there about where he finished in race number 1 there in P25. Suarez in the mid-30s, and John Hunter Nemechek once again at the very bottom. I'm really not sure what is causing that 38 to run so slow, but definitely I need to make some changes with that front row team. All right, boys, we had a good rebound there at the end of race 1, and I mean, settling us up well, I think, confidence-wise for the second race. So I think we can have a chance today to go potentially win this one. I said that yesterday, but hopefully this time I mean it enough to make it happen. So let's go have a good one. There you hear myself on the radio once again. There you see the game letting us know that Logano does not like us, unfortunately. Now, as Brandon Jones failed optical scanning station multiple times, he has a win this season, by the way. If you guys remember at Phoenix in a fuel mileage situation, and Chase Briscoe, he failed inspection there, so he is starting at the back alongside Brandon Jones. So we are getting ready to go green now on the outside there after gaining one spot as the green flag is up for the second race of the Pocono doubleheader weekend now from P12. So one spot worse. Then race number 1 here as we are underway down this long straightaway towards turns 1. We got the Red Bull of Kasey Kahne up here in the mix, and I can pretty much confirm that Kasey Kahne will not be back in that 82 car next season, as I remember mentioning last season that it's only a one-season deal for Kasey Kahne to just kind of get that team into a position to where they can evaluate with a driver with experience that knows what they're doing to get a good idea of where they are as a team, and you're definitely probably going to see a young driver in that car next season here in the career mode as we go down into this tunnel turn side by side with the 23 of Bubba Wallace. We've seen Bubba in a position to win some races this season. He couldn't quite pull it off. I remember Texas, I think he finished runner-up now as we go down into turns 3 side by side once again with that Red Bull of Kasey Kahne. One extra lap in stage 1 compared to that first race. Now 6 laps instead of 5 here, so we get about an extra 45 seconds to make something happen now as we look up the inside of that 41 of Cole Custer. As you guys know, he'll be driving for Kevin Harvick's team next season. Still have yet to actually come up with a sponsor and design for that 29 car, but I cannot wait to actually get something done for that team now, as I'm thinking right now the main idea for the main sponsor of that car could be Jimmy Johns. Now, as we were 3 wide for a moment, but William Byron, he would get clear of myself and Hamlin by the time we came through the tunnel turn, and then I passed Denny there on the exit of the tunnel turn. Hamlin started second. He was dropping down quite a bit, kind of like Harvick started on the front row in race number 1, and he dropped down quite a bit too. Now, as we were continuing to follow Byron to the inside of our rival of Joey Logano, this time it was a little bit easier to get past the 22 of Logano as we were already clear into turn 3 up the inside of that 88 now as we go into the corner. So seeing some familiar drivers that from stage 1 or from race 1 ran really well. Well, they're running well again here in race number 2 with Kyle Busch, of course, running P1. William Byron had some good speed. He is up here in the mix, but stage 1 actually would come to an early end as a caution came out there as Zane Smith up there in P2, Chase Elliott P3. Once again, these Hendrick drivers all up inside the top 10, even with that affiliate teammate of Byron. So we got Elliott, Bowman, Byron, myself, Kyle Larson, all here in that top 10 having some strong runs in Pocono. As you guys remember as well, last season we actually changed things up quite a bit for this very event. We ran equal engines for both Pocono doubleheader races, and that's how Ryan Preece ended up getting himself into the Wood Brothers racing car, as Gragson actually brought out the caution and will be out of this race here in Pocono. So very unfortunate for Noah Gragson as we gain one spot on the pit lane and now get ready to go green for the start of Stage 2, which is now underway. No amped for the start of Stage 2 now, as I felt like we should just keep it to 1 for the video now as we're in P5. Zane Smith continuing to show some good speed here at Pocono Raceway now, as we have Logano, by the way, right behind us into turns 1, so that was definitely a little bit of a concern, and sure enough, he would actually give me a little bit of a bump there through the center of turns 1 now, but fortunately it doesn't really escalate into anything here as he's under pressure actually from Zane Smith's teammate of Eric Jones in the McLaren. Jones, the only McLaren driver that has been able to pick up a victory in that team or with that team and make the playoffs, but right now both McLaren drivers not in a good spot this season here, as they definitely need to really find something late in this regular season if they want to get any of their drivers in the playoffs now as we go down into turns 3. Now as you could potentially see maybe a new driver lineup at McLaren next season, but I'm thinking that it might be just Zane Smith potentially leaving that team and Eric Jones actually staying now as we come through to complete this first lap of the second stage. 14 laps in stage 2 as we would come through to lap 3, now making it 3 wide with William Byron and Chase Elliott. It's very kind of cool to have this little scrap right here with our Hendrick Motorsports teammates of Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman, and then that affiliate of William Byron. But this battle would continue now as we came through to the end of lap 3. Out of nowhere, Austin Cindric found himself in the mix, still having a bit of struggles there in his second season of his Cup Series career with this 33 car, that 4th car for Penske Racing. But by the time it came to lap 5, another lap later, we were back in front of that 33 and now clearing the 9 of Chase Elliott by the time we went down into turns 1 up the inside of the 48 of Alex Bowman. Justin Haley was into the mix as well. He was right behind us now. So it was cool to see him having a good run. Colleagues still in their first season, definitely taking them a while to find something, as they ran very strong, by the way, at the very start of the season, but kind of fell off since then. But definitely expect to see some good things from them later this season and potentially into next season of this career mode now, as we were finally clear, though, and the rest of the second stage was extremely calm. Absolutely nothing happened. I pulled away and was running all by myself here in P3 on lap 9 of 14. It was Kyle Busch as well as Zane Smith running up there in front of us, and I really couldn't close the gap to those two drivers very well. I got it down to like 2.8 seconds or 2.7 or so, but that was really as far as I could get it now, as actually both the fuel light and tire light come on here with 3 laps to go, and I realized all of a sudden we weren't going to make it to the end of stage 2, so all of a sudden Kyle Busch, Zane Smith, and myself coming into the pit lane, approaching 2 laps to go in this stage now, as we were probably going to run out with about half a lap to go if we did not pit here, and that's a long ways at Pocono. So we all come in, put 2 cans of fuel in the car, 4 fresh tires, but to my surprise, a bunch of drivers decide to stay out. So we came through to start this final lap. A handful of drivers did come into the pit lane, and we were now up to P27. I was deciding to try and save my tires here and hope that we wouldn't have to pit at the end of the stage so we could be right up front. But all of a sudden I realized that now on this final lap, the 19 car of Harrison Burton, by the way, he's run out of fuel. He's coming into the pit lane here. So instead of just kind of coasting to the finish, he pits, and all of these cars in front of us are running out of fuel. Kyle Busch is trying to get through. Zane Smith's trying to get through. The 53 of Gase, he's out. The 32 of LaJoy, and I believe that was John Hunter Nemechek. They're all out of fuel right there, as everybody was pretty much running out here on this final half a lap or so. Like when I said I was probably going to run out myself. Sheldon Creed, we passed him. There's Smith trying to get around the 78 of McLaughlin. We passed him. We passed Stenhouse. All of a sudden, we're going to come through to cross the line in P18 there in stage 2, as Ryan Preece out of nowhere comes through to win stage 2, picks up an extra playoff point for him. As you guys remember, Priest picked up a win earlier this season at Martinsville Speedway, so he is already locked into the playoffs. But I also realize now that actually we are going to have to come into the pit lane again to make it to the end of stage 3, because if we stay out here, we will be short, but if we pit here, we should be good probably by about a lap or 2 to make it to the end of this race. But you see a bunch of drivers staying out, so all of a sudden everything's been mixed right up here for this third and final stage. We end up giving up 9 spots and dropping to P27 for the start of stage 3. So what was a calm stage 2 turned into a bit of a crazy end there now with strategy, and all of a sudden here we are down in P27 instead of running about P3 there. So definitely a lot of work to do in a short period of time. Only 12 laps to go here in the second Pocono doubleheader event. So a lot of work to do, like I said, to work our way forwards now as we're behind that 2014 Cup Series champion of Kevin Harvick. Nearly into the back of him, Zane Smith comes out of nowhere. He decides he's going to send it up the inside. Actually drove right into the side of me, but makes it work. He moves up a spot now. I wasn't too concerned about him. We know he has speed, but I know how much better I am against these other drivers at working their way through the slower traffic, because no matter what, there's going to be a lot of slower traffic in the way now as we come through the tunnel turn. So now I'm going to slide up the inside there of the 4 car and then make it 3 wide here with Smith as well as Chase Briscoe in the middle, and we just use this inside to our advantage here and just start getting a bunch of positions here, passing that 3 car of Austin Dillon. Briscoe right behind myself trying to follow through. Now passing that 43 of Eric Almirola in another 3 wide pass with Matt DiBenedetto on the far outside as we're up the inside of Casey Kane, and then we take it to the inside of the 17 of Chris Buescher, potentially looking at maybe a bit of a new lineup for Roush Fenway Racing next season, by the way, as well. There's so many silly season changes on the way, and a huge announcement, by the way, coming within the next few episodes, maybe as soon as next episode. I already posted, actually, the announcement on my Twitter, so you can see it early if you go over there now, as we're up the inside of Denny Hamlin here, as well as Alex Bowman, and we just continue getting some positions as Cole Custer leads away, and Custer really didn't have a lot of speed in that car, so it was making it so much easier for myself to just find my way through traffic. Now passing Logano, our rival there for P13, we passed Ryan Preece, we made it 3 wide with Eric Jones as well as Justin Haley, and now we're going to move our way towards that top 10 down the front straightaway now on lap 27 to 35, making even more 3 wide moves into turns 1, now up into P8 there into the back of the 99 of Daniel Suarez now on the inside of Elliott, but by the time we went to turn 3, I actually make a bit of a mistake there, and all of a sudden I'm 4 wide in the middle between the 8 and the 36, as well as I believe that was Haley on the far outside. Some contact there with Alfredo. He saves it. We continue going in the right direction, but all of a sudden we drop a few spots under attack from Matt Benedetto to the outside of William Byron. I go, and then the caution actually comes out here in Pocono with 8 laps to go, and all those drivers that stayed out at the end of stage 2 are all going to come into the pit lane, and I myself am going to stay out right here because we have enough fuel to make it. We do have a few repairs to potentially make on the car, but it's really not worth it as Joey Gase appears to have brought out the caution, but we gain 5 spots there and move up to P7. You also saw there on the leaderboard, Brad Keselowski has DNF'd from this race now as we are ready to get back going here with 5 laps to go at the Tricky Triangle here in Pocono Raceway. Cole Custer up front, still looking for that first career win. Can he make it happen before he leaves Stewart-Haas Racing and go to an affiliate team with Kevin Harvick's team now next season as we go down towards turns 1? Daniel Suarez up in the mix. He's won a race here in the Cup Series in our career mode, but we also got Harrison Burton up here. He's already won 2 races this season. Christopher Bell in the 20. He's won some races in the past, but has kind of struggled in that 20 car. He did win the Bristol playoff race last season, but missed the playoffs, and at this point right now, Bell isn't even close to making the playoffs. He's going to have to win his way in now as we're up the inside of Harrison Burton as we come through that tunnel turn, sliding up the track a little bit into that left rear quarter panel of Daniel Suarez now as we were 3 wide for a moment now as we came through now though towards turn 3 we were able to get up the inside of Bell, and then down the front straightaway towards turns 1 we were 3 wide with Bell as well as Harrison Burton into turns 1 out of nowhere. I didn't even realize that the 19 actually has a lot of speed in that car now as we actually clear him though on the exit of turns 1. Look to the inside of Cole Custer. Now within the final 4 laps of this race we are going to move through into P1 and potentially have a chance to pick up our very first win here at Pocono Raceway in what would be win number 4 on the season. But by the time we went down into turns 3 here, I got through the corner pretty well, but the 19 was extremely fast out of turn 3. He destroys me on the exit of the corner, and I try to side draft him the best I can there, get right on that quarter panel. Absolutely nothing for the 19 of Harrison Burton. He takes the lead with 3 laps to go. I don't even think we led the lap there now as we now go down towards turns 1, and as we go into the corner, the caution actually comes out, and for the 3rd race in a row now, we are going to have overtime. We had overtime at Chicagoland. We had overtime in the first Pocono doubleheader race of this episode, which felt like a long time ago already. And now we have overtime again as it appears Eric Jones and the McLaren likely or potentially brought out that caution, which should be the final caution of the day now as we are going to have to try and make this outside work against a very fast 19 car of Harrison Burton as a green flag is back out. Overtime is underway on the row behind us. We got drivers like Todd Gilliland in that 6 car for Roush Fenway Racing, as well as Anthony Alfredo in that 36 car for Front Row Motorsports. So 2 drivers looking for their very first career wins, and which could be career changing for them now as we go down into turns 1. We get a pretty good entrance, but the center of the corner does not go well, and that allows Harrison Burton to get clear of myself on the exit of the corner. Now Gilliland up my inside. He has nothing for us. We are already clear of him now as we get that draft from the 19 of Harrison down this first straightaway towards that tunnel turn. We're going to potentially have a chance to get up his inside right here. We usually are very good through this section of the track. Sure enough, right to the back of the 19, now to the inside of Harrison Burton as we go down towards turn 3, approaching this final lap, already gapping 3rd place on back quite a bit here as we get the freedom to really scrap it out with Harrison here as we exit turn 3 on his left rear quarter panel, but he has so much speed in that car. He clears me with ease on the exit of the corner. Final lap underway here at Pocono Raceway now as we try to pick up this victory to the inside once again of the 19 car of Burton. He's looking to get win number 3 on the season, which would match myself for most wins on the season. Nearly clear into turns 1 of Harrison, but can't quite make it happen. He fights back there on the exit of the corner. Some contact between himself and I, but now Harrison clears myself on the exit of the corner down this straightaway. Closing up behind us, it looks like Anthony Alfredo trying to get something to happen, but he is too far back now as we go down into this tunnel turn for the final time, right to the back of the 19, but unfortunately instead of getting to the inside, I actually drive right into the back of him, and that allows him to open up a gap between himself and I, about a good 2 to 3 car lengths between us now as we go down into turn 3 on this final lap through the final corner. It's not going to be enough for Harrison Burton as we are close, but not close enough Out of turn 3 for the final time, Harrison Burton will come through to win his third race of the season and his third career win and match us for the most wins on the season. If only I could have actually gotten to that inside on the exit of the tunnel turn, but instead I drove right to the back of him. It would have been nice if it actually maybe spun him out or something. We would have went and won the race, but you saw some surprise names up there in the top 10. Daniel Suarez with a good run. Chastain actually finished his P10 now. Beats Noah Gregson, his teammate, I believe, there, who finished last after DNFing from the event. But like I said, Burton matches us with the wins column. Now Harrison Burton, in his first season with a top team in the series, has actually been the best driver in terms of wins. I mean, he's got the most wins. Kyle Busch has got 2 over there, Hamlin at 1, and then you got Christopher Bell with 0. It's very surprising to see him actually showing up. I mean, he doesn't have the most points, though, on the team, actually, as Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin both have more than him. But in terms of wins, he has been showing that team how it's done now, as you see the playoff grid after the Pocono doubleheader. Bubba Wallace now the first driver out, 30 points below. Cindric gained a few points here in that second race, now 52 below, but Custer on down pretty much has to win their way in, and Cindric is nearly in a must-win situation as well. But as always, if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time of your day to watch this episode. I really do appreciate it. Now, as in the next episode, we go to Indianapolis for the Brickyard 400. But before we end this episode, of course, just a quick thank you to the Going Racing members of MJ, Aiden, Joseph 9001, RJ, Timothy A, Bubba Jr., Illinois Diecast, Brett Durward, Movement, as well as a few new members. Dark Gengar Gaming, tell me if I pronounced that right. I apologize if I didn't, let me know. And then AJ Vasura as well. AJ, tell me if I pronounced that way right as well. I apologize if I got it wrong, but like I said, once again, thank you. You guys help me out so much, and I really do appreciate the support. But that will do it for this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one at Indianapolis for the Brickyard 400. Have a great day, everybody.